Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome to my channel. This is your girl Nene B once again, and I wanted to do a story time video. So here goes. This is a dating story that definitely is 100% accurate. I'm not gonna add any fillers in. This is exactly what happened when I went on that date. So let's go with this story. Okay, so back in 2012, I was in South Korea to teach English, and I stayed there for a year, and I was new. I was actually new to the area at the time. I think I was only there for maybe a couple months, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. And, at the time, I really didn't know any other people except for who I worked with. And a lot of the people I worked with were not people I hung out with outside of work. They were just nice people that I always hung out with, in a sense, I guess you would say. So I wanted to look for like someone to possibly date or just someone to hang out with. I really wasn't looking for anything serious. So then I find this really nice guy on OkCupid. He was really cool, Korean guy, and he seemed really nice and, eager to go on a date or something. So I ended up reading his profile to see a little bit more about him because, you always want to check the, places before you go. So I was checking his profile and he seemed really nice, good job, doing well for himself, just a good family guy. He just seemed overall really cool. So from there, we ended up exchanging numbers and we would text back and forth. And he was always very, cutesy with his text messages. He'd always have lots of emojis and, kissy faces and all this stuff. But I just thought it was cute because that's the typical stuff that I hear about in Korea. I hear out a lot of people saying that they, have had, have had experiences with Korean guys, and they're usually very cutesy and kind of clingy at times, but also really respectful. So I thought this would be good. I also really am attracted to Asian guys, so I thought, why not? So we met up pretty late. We actually met up around 10 o'clock at night. We met at a movie theater called CGV, and he actually was driving from his town to my city, and so we met up. He was dressed in his little blazer, his little swoop, and his little nice shoes and nice pants, dress shirt. He looked really nice. I was dressed pretty casual, and I had two-strand twists in my hair at the time. So I was like, cool. So we gave each other like a little half hug, because we really don't know each other yet. So then we go outside and it's chilly. It's not freezing outside, but it's chilly. So we're outside for a minute. We talk for like 2 seconds on this little sitting area outside of this mall area. And we basically ask each other about ourselves. Oh, what do you do? What do you like to do for fun? What's your job? He asked me how long have I been here. I asked him, have you traveled anywhere? Those type of questions. So then the focus for him became my features and my hair. So of course I had these two-strand twists, so my hair was like moving in the wind and stuff, and he was so focused on it. Like, he just was looking at my hair like he was just so amazed. So he ended up asking me, oh, can I touch your hair? And I said, okay, sure. You can touch it. I was like, just don't pull it. He's like, I'm not. I'll be gentle. So he actually took my hair. And naturalistas know this. When you have two-strand twists, your hair is usually springy. So he like softly pulled it and it sprung back. And that was just amazing to him. He was like, oh, wow, your hair is so cool. So then I said, well, can we, let's get out of here. It's kind of chilly. Let's go sit down somewhere, maybe a coffee shop. Even though it's like 10 o'clock at night, I did see a Cafe Bene, which is a popular Korean cafe. I saw that around the corner, and so I thought that we would go there, but he decided that he was going to go stop at 4U25, which is kind of like 7-Eleven. He stopped there, and I guess he got some instant coffee things before the date, and he was like, we could just drink this. But I don't even drink coffee, so I was like, well, thank you for buying this, and I drank it to be polite. So then we start driving. I get in his car and we drive around, and he ends up parking in this very deserted area. He literally drives around the town, and he goes further and further out of the town to where he sees barely any people. Where we were, there were people walking around, and there was people in the coffee shops and stuff like that. But where we were now going was like out of the area of basically the public. Everything was closed where we went. There was no cars around, just the street lights were on, really peaceful outside. And I was kind of confused, like, why are we going over here for a first date? That's kind of weird. You guys have to excuse, that's my little space heater because it's kind of chilly. So once we park, I kind of sit there like this. I'm like, okay, why are we parked here? This is weird. So then he looks at me, and he's amazed by my hair again. So he starts touching my hair again, and then I take a selfie with him because my mom's like, I want to see your date. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I take a selfie with him, and then we talk for a little bit more, and then he lays back in his seat, and I'm like just sitting there, and we're kind of talking, not really. It's kind of quiet, kind of awkward, not really much going on. So he ended up looking at me again, but this time it was a little awkward. He got seriously this close to my face, and he was just staring at me. And it was the weirdest thing to experience because I could just feel his eyes on me, because I was looking straight ahead and he was right here, and he just was like staring at me. So when I looked like this, he was like this, and I was like, why is he staring at me? This is so weird. So of course I was like, yes, what? And he's like, oh, I just really like your hair. And he like pulls on my hair again. I'm like, okay. I was like, you touched it once, that's enough. And he's like, oh, your hair is so cool. And he's like, and your eyes are so big, and your lips are so big, and your forehead, my forehead, yeah, big foreheads are a good thing. I'm like, okay, thank you, I think. And so he goes on, and I guess he's complimenting me in a really strange way, telling me he likes, my different features. And, I say thank you, but it's still very weird to me. So I kind of just am like, well, thank you, whatever. And then it gets quiet and a little awkward. And then he looks at me. He's like, do you kiss on the first date? And I tell him straight out, not usually, only if I have a really good connection with someone. And I guess to him, that was like me saying, oh, I want the D right now, so come on over here and jump on me. I guess that's what he thought I was saying in his head. So after I said that, this fool proceeded to leap over his seat and try to jump on my seat to force himself on me to kiss me. You obviously don't know about black women, obviously. So what I do is I take all of his weight and I push it back on his chair where he kind of bounces back in his seat. And I said, I didn't say I wanted to kiss you. I said, no. I said, I did not say I wanted to kiss you. So I'm going to need you not to do that. This fool had the weirdest, creepiest smile on his face, like he was satisfied by that. Like he likes to be dominated by his date or something. Like it turned him on. And he's kind of like sitting there smiling really weird. He was like, kind of like, oh, yeah, that was amazing. And so what I ended up doing was like kind of standing there like, okay, he got one more time. I was just thinking in my head, like, he got one more time to do this mess. So then he tries again. And once again, I push his little happy ass back to his seat. And he does that little creepy smile again. And I tell him once again, I said no. I was like, what don't you understand? And I said it with an attitude. But, that obviously doesn't mean anything to him because he tried a third time. That's right, people, a third time. He leaps over and tries to jump on my seat again. And I'm like, really? Why? So, of course, I push him back with the hardest force ever and I say, take me home. I said, because you ain't listening. I was like, I don't want to kiss you. I was like, we just met. I was like, you don't kiss somebody you just met. That's not cool. And, he starts the car and he starts driving. And it was really cold and really quiet because he didn't want to talk, anymore. Because he's like, well, dang, I probably really messed up this time. I think he kind of got that in his head. So, after that, I told him, good night. And he dropped me off like a little bit down the street from where I lived because I didn't want him to know exactly where I live. Because his behavior kind of told me that he had some mad stalkerish type of traits. And I didn't want that to happen. I've never had anyone stalk me anyway, but the way he acted was kind of creepy. So I was like, nah, pimpin'. So I got out the car and I'm walking. He's like, oh no, give me a hug. Like we had the greatest time or something. He's like, I really enjoyed hanging out with you. I hope we can do it again. And I just look at him like, no, and I keep walking. So after that, I went into my house, sat down, and just couldn't believe what just happened. I was seriously mortified by that date, and I was so upset with myself because I was like, I went on this date with this fool that just obviously just don't know what's going on, obviously. And after that, I went to work the next day and I was telling my coworkers because they're the only people I really talk to. So I was telling my coworkers about what happened. And they all started laughing. They're like, oh my gosh. And then I tell one of my Korean coworkers, which just happened to be my partner teacher, and he was livid. He was like, he did what? He's Korean? And I said, yeah, he's Korean. He said, oh no. He's like, that's not how a Korean man is supposed to act. And I said, okay, Ray. I was like, I'll calm down. He's like, no, that's not right. That's just not cool. He needs to not do that. I hope he never finds a date again. Like, he was seriously upset about this. And so I told him, I said, well, you live and you learn. So that was the end of that date. I never heard from him again. And, nothing else happened with that guy after that. So that was it. But that is my dating story in South Korea. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yes, all of it happened. It was a random night. And if you guys like the story, let me know. Thumbs it up or comment below about it. Just let me know what you're feeling about this story. And I'll definitely post another one because I do have one more date story that I think is pretty funny. So I'll definitely put it up. Alright, y'all. Have a good day, night, whatever time it is where you are. And hope to see you guys again. Peace.